This is one of my recent monotub grows, and I'm going to show you the exact process I used to go from nothing to all these mushrooms. Everything you're seeing here came from a simple setup, but most people get stuck somewhere, whether it's contamination, conflicting advice, or just not knowing where to start. I've run this process so many times now, I can practically do it in my sleep. And once you understand these key fundamentals, it actually becomes really hard to mess this up, even if you're brand new. So in this video, I'm gonna break down these 6 proven steps so you can go from no experience to a full monotub just like this, all while avoiding one of the biggest mistakes beginners make. I also made a simple checklist so you can follow along while doing this. I'll link that down below. Step 1 is making grain spawn, which is basically what your mushrooms are going to grow from. Now, the easiest way to get started here is using something that's already made and ready to go, like some bags of Uncle Ben's ready to eat rice, or a pre-sterilized grain bag. They're already hydrated and sterile, so you can kind of skip this step if you want to, but if you do want to make your own, here's exactly how it works. You want to start with a grain like whole oats, brown rice, or millet. I use whole oats because they're cheap and easy to find. First, you want to hydrate them by boiling them until they're nice and plump. Then you want to let them dry until the surface is no longer wet. After that, you want to load the grains into jars and sterilize them in a pressure cooker at 15 psi for about 90 minutes. This process kills off any competing organisms and ensures that the only thing growing in these jars are the mycelium that we want. If you rush sterilization, nothing else in this process is going to work, so take your time here. When you do this step, you want to make sure your lids allow a little bit of air exchange. What most people do is modify their lids with a hole punch or just buy some that already have a filter. I'm intentionally keeping things simple here, but if you want a full breakdown on spawn prep and how to make these jars, I cover all that in depth in my monotub playlist. Once the step's all complete, we're ready to introduce our culture and let the mycelium take over. This step didn't seem like a big deal when I first started, and that's exactly why so many of my grows failed right here. This is where we inoculate our grain. Basically, we introduce mycelium so it can start growing. The easiest way to go about this is using something called liquid culture, which is basically just mycelium suspended in a syringe, and we just inject that right into our jars or bags. Now, here's the part that nobody told me about when I first got started. The biggest enemy in this step is the air all around us. There's contaminants constantly floating through the air, so we need some means to control airflow. The most simple way to do this is buying a still air box online, or if you have an extra plastic tote, you can just flip it upside down, cut a couple holes in it for your hands to fit through, and that'll do the job just fine. Both are solid options, and if you want to check out all the gear I'm using in this video, it's going to be linked right down below. Once you're all set up, you just need to sterilize everything with 70% isopropyl alcohol, inject your culture, and you're ready to go. Now we wait. Over the next couple weeks, you're going to see the mycelium slowly spreading through your jar and turning it white. That's exactly what we want to see. If we see any other colors like red or blue or green, those are usually signs of contamination and something probably went wrong in your process somewhere. Once it's fully colonized or completely white, you're ready to move on to the next step. This step is known as spawn to bulk, and it's where everything really comes together. In this step, we're going to take our fully colonized grain spawn and move it over to our monotub so it can finally start producing those mushrooms we want. This is, unsurprisingly, another place that I kept messing up when I was new to growing mushrooms, and this is probably the biggest mistake beginners make. Make sure your grain is 100% colonized before you open up your jars or bags or whatever you're using. If you use any uncolonized grain here, it's going to contaminate your entire grow and you'll have just wasted the last few weeks. Which is exactly what happened to me, and it took me way too long to figure out I even made this mistake. At this point in my grow career, I was using these pre-sterilized bags of Uncle Ben's rice, and I cut a few of them open, and they were mostly white, probably 80 or 90%, but that 10 to 20% was still uncolonized rice. I figured it would be fine, I'd just mix it all up, and then that rice would get colonized in no time. Wrong. You see, that uncolonized grain is a magnet for contaminants. So the second I opened up these bags and mixed them all throughout my monotub, I was mixing all these uncolonized grains and they were just taking in little bits of bacteria and mold and other things that I don't want to now grow in my humid monotub. It took me a couple more weeks of waiting before I finally realized my entire monotub was ruined, and at this point I had wasted like 6 weeks. Learn from my mistakes. Okay, so obviously you have your grain spawn fully colonized, so you're ready to move on here. The grain spawn gives our mycelium all the nutrients it really needs to grow mushrooms. It's just missing one major thing: water. And that's where something called coco coir comes in. Coco coir is basically just shredded up coconut husk, and it does one thing really well, and that's holding on to water. So we'll mix some of this coco coir in with our grain spawn, and over time that coco coir is going to hold water, and it's going to allow our mycelium to tap into that water as it needs to start growing mushrooms. To prepare coco coir, it's pretty easy. You're just going to throw a brick of it into a container of your choosing. Then we're just going to pour boiling water over it, normally about 3 to 4 parts water to 1 part coco coir, and then we cover it up and wait for it to cool down. This is known as pasteurization, and it's not just hydrating the coco coir, it's also killing off any potential contaminants. Once it's cool, we have to test just how hydrated it is, so the way we do that is to grab a handful of the coco coir and squeeze it. If it's properly hydrated, when you give it that firm squeeze, it should only drop out a few drops of water. If you have a lot of water coming out of it when you squeeze it, you're now gonna have to squeeze every handful you take before you put it into your monotub. Now for the tub itself, you don't need anything too fancy. A simple plastic container works just fine. When I first started, I saw everybody cutting holes into containers and adding fancy filters and whatnot, and I did the exact same thing, but it's really more complicated than you need to make it. This $2 container from, I think I got it at Kohl's, like a department store, it works just fine. And if you want, you can add what's called a liner into the bottom of your monotub. This just kind of helps everything grow more evenly and prevents mushrooms from growing sideways, but by no means is it required. From here, just break up your grain spawn, mix it up with the coco coir. I normally do 1 part grain spawn to 2 to 3 parts hydrated coco coir, and just go ahead and level it out. Once it's all level, I'm going to take another couple handfuls of coco coir and just create a thin layer to cover everything on top of the monotub. Now you can just put your lid back on your container and throw it in a closet to let it colonize. Just like the mycelium did with our grain, over the next couple weeks, you're going to see the mycelium spreading out and colonizing the entire monotub. Once everything's colonized, we're officially ready to fruit our mushrooms. This is where all the hard work finally pays off. Up to this point, we've just been growing our mycelium, but now we're ready to grow mushrooms. To do that, we want to slightly change the conditions inside our monotub. All we need to do is simply crack the lid and leave it slightly off center. This will allow some fresh air to come into the tub while also preserving humidity. Now, as we have fresh air coming in, we want to make sure the tub doesn't dry out, so monitor the walls of your tub. You should see condensation still forming on the walls and lid. If you notice them looking a little bit dry, go ahead and grab a mister and just slightly mist all the walls. As long as your mycelium are getting fresh air and you're still seeing moisture on the walls, everything is a-okay. After a few days of fresh air, you're going to see these little white bumps forming on the surface, and these are known as pins. This is great to see. These are basically the early stage of your mushrooms. Once you see these pins forming, you'll probably be shocked by how fast they grow, often doubling in size overnight. Then, before you know it, Merry Christmas! You wake up one morning and you have a monotub full of mature mushrooms. You can tell they're all mature because the caps are starting to flatten and this little thing underneath known as the veil has begun to tear. That's our sign it's time to harvest. If you wait too long, they're going to start dropping spores and kind of making a mess, so I try to harvest them right at about this point. All we need to do here is grab them by the base and give them a gentle twist, and you may be surprised by just how easily they pull up from the substrate. What we want to do is harvest everything here. Don't worry if some of them look small or weird, it's all good. You can throw them in a bowl, weigh them, show your friends, show your dog, whatever. Now go ahead and give yourself a pat on the back because you, my friend, have officially grown some mushrooms. Now, be careful here. We don't want to celebrate too early because this is actually the exact moment where I lost my first successful grow. Let's get into what to do next so the same thing doesn't happen to you. This is like a little bonus step before our last step because it doesn't really involve growing mushrooms. It's more so about proper storage of your mushrooms. Now, once you harvest all your mushrooms, unless you plan on eating them all today, you're going to want to dry them for long-term storage. The easiest and most reliable way to do this is with a simple food dehydrator. I like to dry mine at 104 degrees Fahrenheit until they snap like a cracker, and that's the real test of doneness. This usually takes me about 24 hours depending on the size of my mushrooms. Make sure you perform the snap test with your biggest mushrooms because those are going to hold on to the most moisture. If they're a little bendy or flexy, they need more time on the dehydrator, and don't worry, as long as you're using a low temperature, you can't over dehydrate your mushrooms. And this is where my first harvest went so wrong because I was so paranoid about leaving my mushrooms on the dehydrator that after probably 8 to 10 hours, I took them off because I was like, they're going to over dry, they're going to overheat, they're going to get ruined. And I threw them in a jar, and I came back 2 weeks later and this jar had completely rotted. And I had a pretty good sized harvest here. I lost so many mushrooms. I think it's the hardest I've ever cried in my life. So once your mushrooms are all dry and they're passing the snap test, you want to throw these into a glass jar and also add a desiccant pack. These desiccant packs help absorb any potential ambient moisture, and I like to use these ones that have the little orange beads in them. These indicator beads will turn brown if they absorb any moisture, and so I can just look at my jars, I see the beads are still orange, and I know the mushrooms in there are perfectly fine. Now with our mushrooms safely sealed in the jars, they can last years. Pretty cool, huh? But we're not quite done just yet, because our last step makes a huge difference in how many more mushrooms you're gonna get. If you stop here, you're leaving a lot of potential mushrooms on the table. Most mushrooms are over 90% water, so after our first harvest, our substrate cake has lost a ton of moisture. So to grow more mushrooms, we want to rehydrate it. So instead of beginning a brand new batch and starting all over, we can just keep the same monotub going for 3, 4, maybe even 5 more flushes. To do this, we need to do something called floating the cake. All you really need to do here is add some water to your monotub and put something clean on top of the substrate to submerge it. I like to let it soak for anywhere from 4 to 24 hours, depending how dry it feels. If this was your first harvest, it's probably not that dry and you don't need to soak it too long. After it's rehydrated, you want to make sure you drain out all excess water. Do not leave standing water in your monotub or you're going to greatly increase the conditions that allow contaminants to thrive. So after you've drained all that water, put your lid back on, but leave it cracked for airflow. Once again, we're just back to monitoring. Make sure we see some moisture building on the walls, and before you know it, in another week or two, you're going to have more pins and more mushrooms. Eventually, growth will drastically slow down. Your harvests are going to start producing just 1 or 2 or 3 mushrooms, and that's usually when it's time to toss the tub and start fresh. Now, if you're ready to start growing your own mushrooms, I have a full monotub playlist right here that breaks down every one of these steps in greater detail, especially the parts that most people get stuck on. If you want to get this process right on your first try, that's exactly where I'd go next. And that's it. Thanks for watching and happy growing.